Hey, what up, homies? So I just got back from the Escambia River tournament, and let me tell you, it was a little different. We're talking dead of winter, although you never know it. I'm wearing a shirt, no jacket, but yet it was heavy wind, heavy rain. Water temperatures were soaring up into 70, maybe 69 degrees, depending on where you're at. So a little different on January the 10th than what we're used to. But yet, hey, some guys made it work, other guys did not. Now, I did not win. My friend did, Jeff Knight. Now, he's on YouTube at Jeff Knight Fishing and has a ton of great videos, great content. Check him out. Jeff Knight with a K, Fishing, Jeff Knight Fishing. So, check him out. Great videos on that. But anyway, what do you do when you have heavy rain, heavy wind? Water temperatures are not, much higher or lower than what you thought they should be. What do you do? Where do you go? I chose to go to a canal. I chose to go to an area that had very little current, very little wind, if you will. It was a protected canal with a bunch of boat docks. And, well, I'm going to show you what I did. I caught a lot of short fish, only one keeper, on a golden shiner, 3/8 ounce chatterbait with a gold blade. Now, if you notice the trailer, it matches perfectly on this golden shiner color. Now, I actually made this guy, and you can find it on my TikTok shop at Big'em Outdoors, BIGEM Outdoors on the TikTok shop. But it's called the Golden Knight. Where did I get that from? Well, my friend Jeff Knight loves the golden shiner color, and he has caught, I forget how many, over 7-8 pounds in the past month. Okay, he catches them like they're going out of style, but he loves a golden shiner color, and I named it the Golden Knight. All right, so I chose to go with that guy. Didn't catch any big ones, but I caught plenty of short fish. Had they been, an eighth of an inch bigger, a quarter of an inch bigger, perhaps the tournament would have went a different way. But hey, that's fishing. That's how it goes. Now, I caught the majority of my fish, including the big one. I did get big fish for the tournament. I caught the big one and all my other fish on my personal favorite, a jig. Now, if you know me, I love fishing shallow. I love pitching and flipping a jig. That's what I love doing. Typically a black and blue jig, but because, what we had going on, the water clarity, the depth in which I was fishing, just a number of factors, I chose to go with a white with a little bit of chartreuse in there, and a white transparent with a little bit of chartreuse in the back of it, minnow style trailer. Now, I was swimming this guy around a canal with boat docks and pilings. Now, here's the problem. Now, I'm fishing 50-pound braid, but the problem was I lost a lot of fish. They get tangled up in the boat docks and then come off, or they'll get wrapped around a piling and come off. But you know what? That's how fishing goes. That's how tournaments go. If you know, you know. But anyway, in the video, I'm going to show you a few things, what I did, show you a few of the fish that I caught, and show you how my day went. So, see you in the comments. All right. It's now the following day, and you have seen how my day really went. And I freely admit, it could have gone better. But you know what? That's how fishing goes. And if you know, you know. And you certainly know if you go in a tournament bass fishing, half the time you look back on it and you say, you know what? Whew, man, it could have gone better. And that's what happened yesterday between the rain, the wind, the low tide, and all the other things that went on. It was a little rough, a little tough. You saw in some of the footage that lens had water, had rain all over it. It was a little rough to really get dialed into a certain thing, a certain pattern, if you will. So what did I do, and what could I have done differently? Well, as I mentioned in the intro, I was really going for a power approach. I was flipping and pitching and swimming a jig. Now, not this one here. I love their product. I ain't sponsored by them. But you know what? They make a great product. But you know what? It worked. It certainly worked. I was catching a lot of fish. I caught the biggest fish. And I had two other fish equal or maybe a little bit bigger than the one I did catch, the biggest one. Caught a lot of short fish, and I lost a lot of fish, as you saw in the video. But you know what? Would I change anything with that? No. Because what if I caught those other two bigger ones? It'd be a different story right now. But you know what? That's how fishing goes. You catch them and you lose them. Unfortunately, I lost more than I caught. So what could I have done differently yesterday that perhaps would have put more fish in my boat? Well, looking back on it, I would have gone with a more finesse approach in combination with what I was currently doing. Maybe a Kitech or some kind of minnow-style jig head, Cinco, wacky worm, stick bait, you name it. Some kind of finesse approach to really look at and focus on those fish that were in this canal, the bass that were so finicky. If you had a hiccup, a sniffle, you would spook the entire school. And that's the problem. That's what I had going on. So looking back on it, they say, hindsight 2020. Looking back on it, I would have gone, in combination with what I was currently doing, a more finesse approach. But you know what? You can only learn from it. That's all you can do. You can't change the past. You can't do nothing like that. But you can learn from the past. And certainly, looking back on it a day later, that is what I would do. I would go with what I was currently doing, swimming, pitching, flipping, punching, but also go to the finesse side and try to finesse a few fish into the boat. And you know what? That's what fishing is all about. That's what tournament fishing is all about. Learning what you did and what you could have done differently. I'll see you in the comments.